and welcome to Raregivers 2022. We are so happy to see you today. My name is Sally Kim, and I'm the Regional Director for Microsoft Technology Centers, or MTCs, across the West. We are broadcasting live from the Envisioning Theater in the Seattle MTC to 12 cities around the world and countless virtual attendees via Microsoft Teams. Each year, during our October Give Month, we highlight a charity that embodies the mission of Microsoft to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. On behalf of the Data Platform Group and our marketing and operations team, we are thrilled to host Raregivers 2022, a global festival of wellness benefiting Angel Aid. Today is about inspiration, resilience, connection, and most importantly, support. Angel Aid cares for the caregivers. Through their mobile-first mental health network, they deliver daily relief to an often unseen community, rare mothers. No one has a bigger heart for caregivers than the founder and CEO of Angel Aid. And it is my honor to introduce a true servant leader, Crystal Barrett O'Loughlin.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sally. Oh my gosh, wow. Can you feel the loving energy? It is literally ping-ponging across the planet right now. On behalf of our Angel Aid team and our board and our community of caregivers, we are so honored that you have taken the time to join us today. It's your generous hearts that are going to make the next 50 minutes of our time together worthwhile. Angel Aid cares for the health and well-being, the mental health and well-being of caregivers in the rare disease space. And you're going to be hearing a lot of numbers today, okay? We're going to have videos, we're going to do our International Rare Mothers of the Year Award and our International Rare Carrier of the Year Award. And as you're watching these videos and we're explaining to you what we do and we're inviting you to make donations, I want you to do a little bit of empathy math with me. Okay, now don't worry, this is not a complicated equation. It's basically X times Y equals Z. 350 million families caring for a loved one with a rare disease. 0 cures. Who's caring for the caregivers? The answer is you. Your donations today will make a difference in the lives of caregivers today. While science and research and pharmaceutical companies and doctors are looking for the treatments and cures, Angel Aid is providing the witnessing. We witness the everyday struggles. We witness without judgment. We provide emotional support and connectedness to a community of hearts that need it most. So I'd like to invite you to remember the empathy math. And at any point during this broadcast, if you feel compelled, make your donation right in that moment. That is the loving energy that we're going to bring to this experience together, okay? We can't do any of this without technology. And the pandemic proved that, right? We were immediately isolated, and it was technology that allowed us to continue to connect with the families that we serve. We wouldn't be anywhere without our partnership with Microsoft. So I'd like to take a few moments and see what Microsoft has done for us.
Angel Aid provides mental health and wellness services for mothers of children with rare genetic diseases. There's actually 350 million people worldwide with a rare disease, and half of those are children. So mothers are at home taking care of their children with very few treatments and no cure options. Brenda and I connected on a heart level. We're both technologists. I've worked in IBM and worked with Microsoft. She works for Microsoft. Brenda had a great interest in the work that we do.
I had heard about the hackathon through our philanthropies team. I had never done hackathons before, even though I've been at Microsoft for 12 years. Felt like you had to be technical. So I was a little bit afraid of it, but I decided to jump in and do it.
When the pandemic struck, we had to cancel all of our in-person support services. We knew we had to digitize really quickly, and we needed to do it on a global scale. So being able to work with the Microsoft team in a global environment, for our case, we needed solutions that were mobile first, that were multilingual, that could scale and be supported by our team. That's really what Microsoft has brought to the table, plus a whole lot of fun during our hackathon experience. The hackathon allowed us to pool together a set of resources, Angelators working with Microsoft volunteers, to digitize all of our wellness training. So we digitized Sustainable Mom. We translated into Spanish and Hindi so that we could serve our global community. And we launched a portal. One of the things we tell our rare moms is you are not alone. What just amazed me was that we're not alone. The Microsoft team showed up for us when we were at a dead standstill.
The Hack for Good community is phenomenal. And it just takes stepping in just one time, and even just at a minimal level, because once you strike that match and it starts catching fire, you'll start to understand really kind of where your passion starts to light up.
Working with the Microsoft team is it's like working with the most heartfelt, loving individuals with these just sort of superhuman, super hacker skills. It's like working with a world-class volunteer organization, which it is.
Wow, so you can really see the impact on this partnership. And I just want to give a huge shout out to all the volunteers around the country and the world who have put together this global festival of wellness. Even this broadcast is from volunteer resources. And I'm just going to say thank you to Yvonne Hamilton, our producer today. Okay, so here's our question. How do we give? And because we've got all sorts of different individuals on the planet that are ready to give, I want to explain this to you. Okay, Raregivers is our name, but it's also a movement. It's a belief system, and the belief is this, that our mental health is just as important as our physical health. Okay, so while the focus is happening in rare disease on finding treatments and cures, we need to provide resources, opportunities to connect, and emotional uplifting opportunities for our rare families. So Raregivers is all about mental health. If you believe in mental health, you're a rare giver too. So we welcome you in. And here's what we're going to do. First and foremost, if you're here to make a donation and you're part of the Microsoft team, you do qualify for a matching donation in most cases. And to get that matching donation, you need to donate through Benevity. And that's a portal that most of us don't have access to unless we're a Microsoft employee. If you're here to support Angel Aid outside the Microsoft community, any of our friends and family, anyone else, we invite you to go to our website, angelaidcares.org, and click on donate, or if you want to go straight to the fundraise site, which is what we use for our fundraising technology, you can go to raregivers2022.fundraise.org, and it's FUNRAISE. We're going to have some fun today if you get the idea. Okay, so our job in the next now 45 minutes is to inspire you to give. And we want you to give what's on your heart, right? We want you to give deep. We want you to pretend that you're sitting across the couch or the table from the individuals that are going to be receiving your loving support. Give to the heart. that will touch you. So as we're showing you these videos, as we're sharing these moments with you, if something really hits your heart, that's the moment when we want you to stop and give. And we're going to make it easy for you. Okay, so here's how it's going to go. First, we want to map your giving to what it's actually going to do for the community. Okay, so any giving level up to $100 is going to be pooled together with every other individual donation, and is going to make a huge difference for our community. And again, today, we don't have to wait. We're offering our services today. If you give at the feather level, which is $100, you're enabling a live call between a caregiver in our community and a professional health and wellness practitioner. Okay, so $100 enables that direct one-to-one communication. $200 allows us to connect a rare mother into our support groups. And we run our support groups every week, every month, every quarter. We are always on. We're available via our app and our portal. And then every Tuesday, Thursday, and every in the evenings on Wednesday, once a month, we are connecting in our groups. And we're launching more and more groups by language and around the world as time goes on. At the wings level, that's the $500 level, that supports our uplifting gifting program. So you'll notice my heart-shaped necklace. Symbols can be so powerful in our community. We just need those reminders that we're not alone, that we're part of a connected, emotionally supportive community. And so our uplifting gifting program, we actually send gifts into the home of our community to remind our mothers that they're not alone, that they're loved, and that these are items that support their self-care. At the halo level, this is $1,000 level, right? Think of all the travel budgets that you've had to forego and consider taking a portion of that and putting it towards this mission. I promise you it will make a huge difference, and it's my job to show you how it's making a difference. At the halo level, we're able to connect in a rare mother into our multilingual support groups. They're all set up in the app. We just need to hire the individuals to run them. So our first support group we'll be launching is in Spanish. Our Latina community is ready and waiting for this, and we encourage you to donate today, and we'll talk about how to do that. At the guardian level, the $2,000 level, you actually are sponsoring a rare mother and her support services throughout the year. Okay, so all of those weekly and daily shots, daily opportunities to connect with each other, and then our quarterly support 6-week wellness retreats, she'll able to participate in that. Our archangels are the ones that are programmatically bringing sustainable support services together. Later in the program, I'm going to talk to you about Australia and how we're bringing the sustainable mom, now the sustainable caregiver, to Australia, thanks to our partnership with Sydney General Hospital and the generous donations of our archangels. Okay, so those are just a few examples of specifically what your dollars go towards. And I want to talk to you about this concept of collaborative philanthropy. Okay, it's this idea, and it's already happening, and we're doing it today, is how do you take a bunch of money, put it together towards a common goal? Take disparate organizations and stand together to make systemic change. Okay, we have a huge global mental health crisis in rare disease. Remember the empathy math? 350 million families, 0 cures. Angel Aid cannot accomplish the support alone. We have to work together. And so that's what we're doing today. In the 12 MTCs, the Microsoft Technology Centers that we've identified around the country and the world, we have our partners. We've brought our partners in, and they've already done their personal appeals to each city center. And so what you'll see is us elevating the voice of individual disease communities across the country and around the world. Okay, so here's how it's going to work. We're going to go city by city. okay? And we want you to be able to donate into the city that you're a part of or into a specific initiative that interests you. So if you're not one of these cities, that's fine. But if some mission really appeals to you, you'll see what I'm talking about in just a minute. We've provided QR codes. The QR code for Microsoft goes direct to the Benevity site. If it doesn't work for some reason, it might be a firewall issue, just go to aka.ms/AngelAid. Okay, and on the right, you see the AngelAid QR code, and that will go directly into our fundraising and donation site. And again, if it doesn't work for some reason, it might be a firewall issue, it might be a phone compatibility issue, just go to angelaidcares.org and click on donate. Okay, my husband is from Boston, Massachusetts, okay? And so we're starting with Boston today. When Jim and I were married 18 years ago, and this is my shout out to my family and my daughter, Chloe O'Loughlin. When Jim and I were married, we went on our honeymoon. We went to Africa. And the Maasai warriors in Africa taught us a woot woot, okay? And what it is woot woot. And woot woot means, hey, notice me, hello, greeting, whatever it is. And so we're going to use the woot woot as our welcome today. So at the count of 3, I want every individual, whether you're alone at your desk or you're in an MTC, whether you're in Boston or you're somewhere else, we're going to call out 1, 2, 3, woot woot. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, woot woot. Okay, I heard that. I heard that. That's like an echo. Thank you, Seattle, for supporting that. And thank you, Boston. So in Boston, just a few minutes ago, Jennifer Gentile, your co-host, who is an attending psychologist at Boston Children's Hospital, talked about her connection to rare disease and the work that she's been doing within mental health within the Boston area. We also have a rare mother, Jamie DeRosier, who has suffered the loss of both of her children to mitochondrial disease. We are dedicating this broadcast to you, Jamie. The Boston area is going to be a key center for us to provide our mental health and wellness services. So if it's on your heart, please donate to Boston today. London. Okay, yes, we are international with this broadcast. It's being live streamed into London, which is, in the evening hours at the moment. They're going to do a rebroadcast later in the month. And I'm so grateful to our co-host, Laura Bloom. Laura is the president and CEO of the Ehlers-Danlos Society. And the Ehlers-Danlos Society hit my heart during our very first wellness retreat. Erin Pop, a rare mother, joined our retreat, and her daughter Cassidy had been diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos at 18 years old. It's been a long journey, and Laura is a voice for a giant community of individuals. Actually, Laura's team has participated in our hackathons with Microsoft to help guide us on how to tackle multilingual support. They have best practices for doing that within the Ehlers-Danlos Society. So a big shout out to London on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, woot woot. And now on the other side of the world, in Mexico City, has gathered a very, very special group of people. Elizabeth Sacido, I see you. We see you. You are a rare mother in Mexico. You've reached out to us. You joined our global wellness retreat. You were so touched that you said, I want to bring this training. I want to host a retreat in Mexico. And so we were going to do that. Your son, Danny, is there in Mexico City with the Microsoft team. Danny's service dog is also, Nalu, is in Mexico City. So we're going to be raising money in Mexico City to host our first wellness retreat in Mexico. And we're reserving a portion of that funds for something really special. There are service dogs that actually can sense epileptic seizures. So we're going to be funding the training of a service dog to sense Danny's epileptic seizures. I'm so grateful to Mexico City. I'd love to do a shout out, and I don't know how to say woot woot in Espanol, so I'll say it with an accent. 1, 2, 3, woot woot. And last but not least at all is Sydney, Australia. There's a woman named Chris Pierce, And Chris and I met at the Rare Global Alliance Leadership Council, part of the Global Genes Network many years ago. And I'm so grateful to Chris. She went through our training in Australia, and the time zones were wonky, so she helped us realize how to stagger that. But also, it really hit her heart. We need these support services in Australia. Let's work together. And we started defining a program, and we met weekly, bi-weekly, for about 2 years defining this program, looking for a sponsor. Dr. Emil Kakas from Ultragenics Pharmaceuticals actually stood forward. He stepped forward and he said, I will be your sponsor for that program. He made a personal donation of $25,000 last year. It was offered as a matching grant. We were able to secure the match through the Epilepsy Foundation of Australia. And now we have enough funding to run a pilot for that program. That's just the beginning. We have so much more work to do in Sydney, Australia. So just know that any donations that are made to Sydney will go towards that program. And let's give a huge shout out, and I'll do an accent for you as well, to Sydney, Australia. Woot woot. Okay, thank you for your patience. This is a new model, this collaborative philanthropy model. I don't know if it's been done before in a gift campaign. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't, but we're excited to continue to grow, and we're excited to continue to grow with you. So please donate what's on your heart. Okay, at any time during the broadcast. We are a global network. We need support in order to roll these programs out and to host these different initiatives with all of these different philanthropies in our global mental health initiative. Thank you very much for your attention. And I'd like to give just a few minutes so that we can hear from the actual women receiving the benefit of our support services. And remember the empathy math. It's going to come up again here. These are big numbers, and the way you bring them back to the heart, 350 million, 0 cures. Who cares for the caregivers? You do.
Rare mothers. Your neighbors, your friends, your colleagues at work, 350 million women around the world caring for an adult or a child with a rare disease. More patients than AIDS and cancer combined. Rare is not rare. There are 7,000 diseases classified as rare, with obscure names like SCN8A and CLN2 and mucopolysaccharidosis, and other more well-known diseases like cystic fibrosis and Fabry and Tay-Sachs and Pompe. Every pediatric cancer is a rare disease. 7,000 rare diseases with no cures, and half the patient population is children. A third of those children won't see their 5th birthday. How do parents live with that reality? How do grandparents and aunts and uncles and sisters and brothers and friends? 1 in 10 American families are caring for rare patients, 1 in 15 worldwide, and 82% of primary caregivers are mothers. These women are suffering in silence, isolated, in distress, shouldering the emotional, social, financial, and physical burdens of the whole family. Today, we amplify the voice of the rare mother. We see you. You are not alone.
I feel relief because I found a place, because not even this psychologists, coaches could understand.
And I just love the opportunity to slow down and kind of tend to the part of me that still aches every day, and just be present with some others who kind of get this side of life.
And I'm trying to let go and accept that I'm changing as a person, and what are the good things in it, I'm finding these connections with you guys, and if it wasn't for my kids, I would never been here.
I'm picking up amazing stuff. This is so cool.
I know Sherry is a lifelong friend of mine now too. I consider all of you my friends, and we relate here on this platform.
Friendships that we are growing here in this community, this is a place where you can be real.
That really does help, because this is really the only place that I can say, like, it's lonely and it sucks and it hurts.
Having a community of other people who get it, who you don't have to explain quite so much, that can listen with a set of ears that are more attuned to your life, is really, really critical.
This group definitely understands me.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Thank you.
That's why we're here, and we're so glad that you found us.
Me too. Thank you, guys.
Wow. Okay, so I get choked up every time I see these women. I wake up every morning and light a candle for our community and for all of the supporters of our community, including you as our donors. So I'd love to light my candle for you every day. And I want to just give you a little bit of left brain. Like, what is it that we provide relief, and how do we provide relief? So it's the science of stress, right? And this concept of stress as a chronic traumatic response, okay? So the stress of caregiving is different. It's not a moment and then you recover from the moment. It's chronic and it's ongoing. And in fact, we have caregivers in our community that have been caregivers for more than 60 years, if you can imagine. So there's a woman named Dr. Alyssa Epple from UCSF. She's co-author of a book called The Telomere Effect. And what they actually measured, and this is Nobel Prize winning research, they actually measured at a cellular level the effect on stress. The telomeres are your measure of the flow of your life. They shine bright from the beginning of your life, and when they dim, that is the end of your life. And what they know is chronic stress dims your telomeres. Here's the good news. You can repair your telomeres with mindfulness exercises, with connection, with being emotionally witnessed. They've actually been able to measure that at a cellular level. There's undenying that these mindfulness tools and these connections that we're providing can make a huge difference. So I just wanted to give you some of that perspective from a science standpoint and also from a psychological standpoint. So there's an article in Psychology Today that talks about all the different kinds of support that can be provided to a person whose life has gotten medical. Right? So informational support and tangible support, that is, what is the disease? What are the symptoms? How do I manage them? Where do I find a doctor? Is there a clinical trial? How do I get my insurance claims covered? How do I get durable medical goods to modify my home? That's above the waterline. What we're talking about to bring relief is emotional support and companionship. It's the connectedness. It's the being witnessed. It's not the fix, it's just the share, right? And we know from Psychology Today that this is what brings deep and profound relief for family caregivers. Okay, so I'd like to do a shout out and a thank you to DeRay Tannehill. She has been supporting our work since day one with a $10,000 a year donation that we put towards bringing the voice of the rare mother into the world. So we're going to take you into the living room, and thank you to Simon Rogers of A Little Better Co. We're going to actually take you into the living room of Gabi Conecker. Thank you, Gabi.
My name is Gabi. I live in Washington, D.C. with my husband and 2 children, and I am a rare mother. When my son Elliot was born, it quickly became clear that something wasn't right. He was intensely floppy. We weren't noticing any eye contact, and he was having these awkward movements, and we wondered, could these be seizures? We kept bringing this up with our pediatrician, but were dismissed over and over again. You know, things like, oh, all babies develop at their own pace, or it's probably just an exaggerated startle reflex. But, you know, I was in this new moms group, and every time we met, I could really see that Elliot kept falling further and further behind. Initially, I was just so frustrated because we just kept being invalidated, and I knew something wasn't right. But then it really turned more to fear. I was so scared that we were missing something, and I just didn't have any information to work with. After this 15-month-long marathon of waiting for a diagnosis, we got the call that there was something in the test. And when we went in, we were told that it's this extremely rare pediatric epilepsy, and there was nothing that they could do. What became clear to us is that in rare disease, a diagnosis is not an answer, it's not the finish line, it was just the beginning. I remember coming back from these mothers groups and just breaking down crying because it was so painfully obvious that Elliot was not developing like these kids. So my friends, they would ask, how's Elliot doing? And I honestly, I didn't have a vocabulary for it. How do you say that your kid isn't doing anything? He wasn't meeting any milestones. And even talking about it became incredibly painful. When I think back on this now, what really stands out is just the constant loss and mourning for what we thought life was going to be and what we thought we were going to share with Elliot. There is nothing typical about our daily life. Elliot requires 24-hour monitoring just to keep him alive. Elliot requires respiratory treatments, constant physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, vision therapy. There's feeding and hydration. Elliot gets fed through a pump into his stomach directly, and that is done over 20 hours throughout the day. There's medications, changing diapers. It's not just busy, it's the intensity. There's just a constant intensity here that any moment this place could turn into an emergency room. With a daily life like that, who has time for themselves? Finding a community of rare mothers who are like-minded to connect with has been an incredible comfort and really helped me take better care of myself. One of the most important parts of this journey is finding other people who can understand and relate to what you're going through. Part of my hope in doing this is for the rare mothers out there to know that you are not alone.
All humans need personal connection and emotional support, but rare mothers more than most. Rare mothers give all they have, heart, body, mind, and soul. Yet they're the least likely to seek help for themselves. Angel Aid believes in uplifting the whole family by caring for the caregivers. To all the rare mothers around the world, you are not alone. We see you.
Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that we have the opportunity to support these women. I'm so grateful for your donations. I'm hearing word that our donation levels are going up exponentially, and I know that we can do some amazing things together. So please make your donation in this moment. I know that touched your heart. One of the things that's so important in global mental health is that everybody gets a voice at the table, that everybody gets included, and that we're not accidentally or inadvertently perpetuating a system that ignores a different group of people. So what we want to do is make sure that we're not forgetting to ask the question, how are you doing? In these meetings with caregivers and with families. We know from mental health services for military and veterans caregiving and for senior caregiving that the role of the caregiver really just needs to be acknowledged and everything gets better. So that's what these services are designed to do, is to acknowledge and support with sustainable practices, the sustainable mom, our weekly meditations, We have point programs for what we know are acute problems within our community, needle fear and needle phobia we address with our Traumaless Needle Pokes program. We know that our young adult patients really are struggling, especially since the pandemic has hit. And so we use graphic storytelling as a backdoor into therapy with our young adult community. Ironically, this brings respite to the mothers and the fathers because their children are focused in on creating their graphic novels. We provide our online support groups, and we provide a focus on specific areas, again, that maybe aren't seeing the light. And one of those areas is the carrier. So many of rare families have a genetic history that they're not even aware of. And that genetic history comes upon them in various different ways, either with the diagnosis of a child, or perhaps a sibling, or a 23andMe kit. Right, so what we endeavored to do, thank you very much to our partnership with Horizon Therapeutics, is to create an environment where we could talk about these emotions, talk about these considerations for rare carriers. And I'm so proud to say that today we launch AngelAcares.org, Voice of the Rare Carrier. This is a tool. It's meant to be a tool for the community and for genetic counselors and pediatricians and doctors and others that want to support and understand better what it feels like to be a carrier of a rare disease. And so I invite you to listen again to this next video that's about telling others.
Who have you shared your diagnosis with? Why? When did you share?
Part of me just needs to tell certain people. I'm not good at hiding things. So when people ask, how you doing? And if I don't, like my coworkers know me really well. So if they notice something's not right on my face, I am not a good person to hide it. So I felt, like I mentioned in the Zoom in April when it was International Pompeii Day, and I debated on that for weeks and weeks, but I felt when the day came, I was like, I think I need to make this a little more public to my extended family. I have a lot of family on social media. So part of that was needing support. The reason I made it more public than I originally thought I would do this early anyway, is for that support.
Thank you so much to Lexi Pappas for producing those amazing videos, Jessica Shiles for getting them distributed into the genetic counselor community, and also Dr. Chelsea Haig for hosting the conversations and doing all of those beautiful illustrations. The last program I want to talk to you about is our coalition. Think of this as a blueprint for how to address mental health and wellness in rare disease. It's really clear to us that the need is so huge, we have to work in a collaborative fashion. It comes down to that concept of collaborative philanthropy. Well, it's collaborative support as well. And so we want to thank the organizations that have supported this initiative so far, and the thousands of hours that were dedicated to building a tool, an open source mental health tool that can be used by all. It's free, it's downloadable, and what we hope is that patient advocacy organizations and other groups in need will use this tool as a way to be witnessed, to recognize the rare journey and what this feels like, what it looks like, what are the stages. We want to demystify this experience. We want to talk about the parts of this experience that other people don't talk about. We call this the Raregivers emotional journey map. And it is a reflection of a cycle of hope and grief. It started out as being a tool for caregivers, and we realized that we're actually reflecting the whole family experience, as well as the concentric circles of support from the professional community that are supporting these families as well. And so you'll notice that it's very friendly to look at. It's meant to be approachable. It's meant to be on a single page. What could you expect as a rare family member? It's not disease specific, it's disease agnostic. But these are stages that you may experience, noticing changes, that first moment when you know something's wrong. Going into the doctor and that diagnostic journey where you're adjusting to life with or without a diagnosis. On average, it takes 8 years for a family to get an accurate diagnosis for their child's rare disease. Shifting responsibilities. Knowing that as things are getting more complex with symptom management, everything gets readjusted within the family. And the realities of full-time care are unimaginable. The feelings associated with that, we want to bring to the light. And some of those feelings are around the realities of palliative care, that this loved one is going to pass away. And we don't know when that's going to be, but we have those feelings and those recognized moments around end of life. And what's interesting is in all the research that we did, these last 2 stages, end of life and survivorship, were not documented in the rare disease space, very rarely mentioned in the rare disease space. And it's so important that we recognize that there are literally exponentially huge numbers, billions of families that have lost a loved one to a rare disease. And just being witnessed in that experience is important as well. So much of the fuel behind the research, the science, the patient advocacy, and the support is through families who have lost. It is their legacy of survivorship to make a difference for that next generation of rare families. Of course, we talk about the relief, and those are all the services from the sun that do bring relief within this experience. So we're using this tool in everything we do, and everyone is benefiting from being witnessed on a single page. Whether you're early in your experience, being newly diagnosed, whether you are deep into caring for a loved one, or whether you have lost your children to a disease that has yet to be cured. We want to witness all of these caregivers, all of these rare givers in a very, very profound way. I'm so grateful for your attention today. I'm so grateful for the time that you've spent to get to know us. And we're going to close with a doctor's point of view, a clinical geneticist. Her name is Emma Palmer. She's out of Sydney General Hospital in Australia, and she has a few words to share with you.
My name is Dr. Emma Palmer. I'm a clinical geneticist, which means that I'm a pediatrician or child doctor who specializes in trying to diagnose and support families with rare and complex genetic conditions. And one of the most severe group of these conditions is the genetic epilepsies, long name developmental and epileptic encephalopathies. What that means is it's a combination of a severe epilepsy, where children are often in and out of hospital in intensive care and have very, very difficult to treat seizures, being on multiple medications. And sadly, despite amazing advances in our ability to diagnose the underlying genetic causes for these conditions, we still have very limited treatment options. And the impacts of these conditions go much more beyond seizures. Children often have a severe to profound neurodevelopmental condition with intellectual disability or autistic features, or even psychiatric components. They also have impacts on their gut health and on many aspects of their overall health and well-being. And what our and others' research has shown is the impacts on the caregivers, the parents and support people, the grandparents of these children is immense and currently hugely under-supported in our hospitals and across our communities. And that's where we want to try and make a difference, to better understand and respond to the need of caregivers. And that's why I'm delighted about this project with Int'l to try and see whether we can really make a difference to caregivers by offering them a community where they get support and resources to do the amazing work that they do as caregivers. Currently, up to 80% of parents of a child with a severe genetic epilepsy have significant mental health impacts, including depression, anxiety, and chronic traumatic stress. And this is not possible. We need to make a real difference here. And I'm delighted for your interest and your support. And please feel free to ask me any questions that you may have. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, so you've seen it, you've witnessed it, you've experienced the empathy math. 350 million families on the planet, 0 cures. Who cares for the caregivers? You do. And we will do it with you. So thank you very much. I'm going to take a moment and announce some winners. There's quite a few mothers and carriers out there that have nominated, self-nominated, and we've nominated to be part of our experience. This is our 2nd annual International Rare Mothers of the Year Awards. The prize package includes an invitation to our Global Wellness Retreat, a wellness kit that we send to the home, and a customized video that we produce and load on YouTube so that mother can use that as support and reflection of her experience. So without further ado, I'm so excited to announce the winner for North America is Nicolette Rode. Nicolette, you are the mother of 2 children. You have polymicrotia, facial epilepsy, and hemiplegic cerebral palsy and autism. This is a heavy lift for you, and we're so excited to welcome you into our Rare Mothers community. Nicoletta is from Washington State. Okay, from Latin America, I'd like to welcome in Miriam Terrazos Guzman. Miriam is the mother of a child with spinal muscular atrophy. And Miriam lives in Chihuahua, Mexico, and will be joining our next Rare Mothers Wellness Retreat, hopefully in Espanol. Congratulations, Miriam. Our next winner is from EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and her name is Naomi Schisler. She has 1 child with BPAN disease. And Naomi, congratulations. You live in Johannesburg, Africa, and we can't wait to welcome you into our next Global Wellness Retreat. For the APJ region, we'd like to recognize Hilda Parat. Hilda, you have 1 child with PCD-H19 clustering epilepsy, and you live in Israel, Tel Aviv, and we're so excited for you to join our global community. To recognize the rare carrier, we've been sponsored by Horizon Therapeutics. We're so thankful for your ongoing support. And the winner of the Rare Carrier Award is Lynn Hopkins, carrier of an MPS 1 daughter, Michelle Hopkins, and Lynn living in Long Beach, California. That is our show. That is our opportunity, and I'm so grateful for you. I know that we can do this work together. Can't wait to see you again next year and report back on what all of your donations have done for the Int'l community. Just remember, these deep, deep offerings make a huge difference in the work that we're doing. We're a nonprofit. We have to have your support in order to grow. Whether at the Archangel level, the Guardian level, the Halo level, Wings, or any other support levels, we are so grateful for every single dollar that you give to our Rare Mother community. Thank you to Smriti Bhattacharya, to Ali Mazaheri, and other Microsoft Rare families for stepping forward. And in closing, I just want to remind you, we're all caregivers in some way. And it's so important that you care for yourself. You are worthy of the same loving energy that you give to others. Thank you very much. We'll see you again next year.